Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome once again to Time Warp, the show where we take one wrestler from wrestling's history and see how they would do it somewhere else along the wrestling timeline. My name is Paul Laporte. Joining me, as always, for this episode is my co-host, Mike Miner.
What's going on?
And today, we are opening the hatch. We are going into a mountain in the desert or some crap and welding open a door and unleashing our subject for this episode, Bill Goldberg. How would he do if he started in the modern era, present day? Now,
well, would he have a police escort?
I mean, how could he not?
It's Goldberg.
Absolutely. So, there's some rumors.
Why did he have to hide in the hatch, the cave?
I don't. Did he hide or did they seal him away there, like some sort of nuclear waste?
I don't know.
No, not sure. I don't know. I mean, I think that's really the question. But wherever it was fairly close to Suplex City, apparently.
Yeah, I guess.
Fun little Easter egg in that commercial. So, with Goldberg being announced as a character in the new WWE 2K17 game, there is a lot of talk that he may be coming back for another run, kind of like Sting did when he was announced in 2015.
Speculation.
Absolutely. Everything's speculation at this point. But we're going to see how Goldberg would do if he started as a completely fresh person in the current environment. So, Minor, let's go ahead and start with Goldberg's kind of positives and negatives, and I guess we'll go from there.
Positives. Let's start out with control the crowd. Crowd's always been solidly behind him, so that's the main positive. He's always had a very, very positive crowd response.
Yeah, good charisma for sure, absolutely.
And without even really trying anything, but going in there and smashing people. Something that, they probably should have tried with Roman Reigns. Even though Roman Reigns, he's a lot more skilled. Goldberg proves that you don't need to do a whole lot to get the crowd in the palm of your hands. It helps, though. But he was a product of his time, I think. And
so why do you think that people go so nuts for Goldberg with his limited moveset and his giant rocket push back then, but they balk on Roman Reigns today? I mean, would they be able to book Goldberg in the same way that they did back then and have him get over, or would people reject him in the way that they're rejecting Roman?
I don't think they would reject him like they rejected Roman. I think it's one of those things where he's the type of character that goes out there, smashes his opponent, gets the job done, leaves. He doesn't have to say a word. He lets his actions speak for him. He doesn't have to go that far. As far as today's environment, they really put an emphasis on promos. I mean, think of it this way. Back in 2006, 2007, they brought Sabu in. They had him speak in different roles.
That was a terrible idea.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where they really want to emphasize promo skills and getting a guy over. They don't like to do the whole let the guy's actions speak for him thing. So I don't know. Goldberg, he just gets his point across quick. If he does do a promo, he says basically, "I'm going to smash you. I'm going to kick your ass, and you're next," and that's it. And that's all the crowd really needs from him. And they're fine with it. But, another positive is, and it's going to sound crazy, but his theme music.
Yeah, good theme music.
Theme music is a huge part of character. And if you've got the right theme music, it gets people going, it gets them amped up. And that theme in WCW, not even the redone one, even though the one that was redone in WWE worked to a point, the one that WCW had worked for him because it got people going, it got them worked up. You get the whole pyrotechnics show. Before that, you get the security guards. The police.
I love how we're talking about pro wrestlers and their pros and cons, and one of Goldberg's is like, "Oh, his entrance music was really good."
Legitimately, it's one of those
speaking very highly.
It really got people hyped up, not in the Mojo Rawley way, but it got people hyped up to go and see this guy run through his opponent.
Not since No Way Jose have we seen an entrance theme so infectious.
Yeah, not since Hulk Hogan. Or what's another good one? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, there's lots of good themes.
Oh,
It's
there's
just
lots of good theme songs. Steve Austin,
right.
like you hear the glass break, you hear stuff like that. Mankind with the car crashing,
So I think we can agree.
with Triple H.
I think we can
Music works.
agree. I think we can agree that the intangibles. I think Goldberg does have those kind of covered. Like that's charisma is something that you just have. He had it then. He'll have it now. But let's move on to the other thing, which is ability. I mean, his moveset was really limited. He wasn't training professional wrestling for long before he was on television, and even during his career, the things he did in the ring. I mean, he was wrestling a lot of short matches. He didn't have to do a lot, but
He had a couple punches. He had a couple
yeah,
kicks. That
his-
errant kick that he hit on Bret Hart
that almost killed him. Yeah,
ended Bret Hart's career. One of the biggest names in the professional wrestling industry. One of my heroes. A mule kick accidentally hit him and took his career away. So I mean, he wasn't skilled as far as I guess he could have been more careful, and for what he needed to do, he didn't need a large moveset. He just had to be more careful with what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had kicks, he had punches, he had a gorilla press into a power slam or sometimes spine buster, a spear, a jackhammer. He had a rolling leg lock that he would implement once in a while.
Oh wow, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was pretty impressive coming from him.
So
Like you wouldn't expect it, but
so the thing is, okay, so his moveset's limited, but he's also, if he starts
made
today, he's going into an era in which it's the best training facilities that there's ever been in professional wrestling history in WWE currently with the Performance Center. So does he use that to his advantage, and can he become a better wrestler as a result of that? Or is his limited moveset going to hinder him because so many other people can do so many more things than him?
I don't know. I think he was always kind of that powerhouse character that ran through people, and that's what worked for him. If they kind of did the same thing with Roman Reigns here and there. They did that with him at the Survivor Series a couple of years ago, where he ran through his opponents and didn't need to, to have much effort to do it. He didn't need much effort to do that, so it can still get over with the crowd. And as far as a guy like Goldberg, he used power and strength to get over in his matches if he had to do something that involved it. I mean, he picked up the Giant back in the day and gave him a jackhammer. He could pick anybody up in that suplex position and get them down. So, real emphasis on power. As far as something like that being impressive today, I don't know. It seems like everybody picked up the Big Show at one point.
Yeah, I mean, is Goldberg gonna look as impressive in today's climate with guys like Cesaro and John Cena?
I mean,
don't know.
But you know what? I haven't seen John Cena or Cesaro do a, pick the guy up in a suplex.
Do you doubt that they can?
I doubt that they can. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't. I can't say.
I don't
yes,
think
no.
that there's any question that both of those guys could do everything Goldberg could do.
But you know
Big
what?
Show.
It's also a thing where
Guest appearance by
we
your
cutting that
girlfriend.
out.
No, of course
No?
not.
We're not going to cut that out.
No, keep going.
Anyway,
Talking about physicality and how he relates to guys like Cesaro and Cena.
you got that? Are you good? Anyway,
Keep it going, Minor. You can do it.
so much for the living room.
Keep it going.
Middle finger is always a good thing. Anyway,
Live show.
So anyway, yeah, live show.
Well, live-ish.
3, 2.
No.
Can we start that over?
No.
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 Is it-
No.
Oh.
Just keep going. Keep it
So
going.
I'm gonna go and I'm trying to Sid this. Anyway,
Oh, clever.
that's what I tried to do. Anyway, Goldberg's one of those guys that could pick somebody like the Big Show up back in the day, the Giant, whatever. But on the other hand, I can't say if he would do it now because the Big Show is significantly bigger than he was back then. So I don't know. It depends on if the Big Show wants to get up that far and if Goldberg can hold him in that position. This is Goldberg in his prime, by the way, but I don't know. Somebody like Cesaro and Cena. Cena's picked him up on his shoulders.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know if Goldberg's power is as impressive in today's climate. It was back then, but I just because I mean Goldberg in WCW was really kind of the only guy like that. I mean, Hulk Hogan really couldn't, do the things that he could. All the guys on top couldn't do the things Bill Goldberg can. There are people in WWE he couldn't do everything Bill Goldberg can do in terms of power and maybe more. So I don't know if he's as impressive in terms of that.
I think the closest two people to actually be able to do something to the Big Show or the Giant, whatever you want to call him, at that point, as far as pick him up, were Goldberg, Lex Luger, and Kevin Nash. Nash happened to get him up in a powerbomb one time, but there was another one where he botched it pretty bad.
Yeah. All right.
He slipped or something, but it's.
But like I said, I don't think that it's going to be that impressive.
I don't know. I just think if they stuck to the formula that they did then and try it today. I mean, everybody likes a good winning streak as long as the guy's popular. I think the thing with Goldberg was it wasn't so much a right place, right time thing. I think it was something that wasn't done before. If it was something that wasn't done up until this point, then yeah, I think it would get old.
And that's the other thing I was going to ask is, how do you have him debut? Do you have him debut with the streak again? Like, are you doing that? Are you working him in any feuds, or is he just blowing out jobbers for the first 6 months of his career? What do you do? How do you introduce him to the WWE universe?
I really don't know if there's any way that you can introduce him besides the way that he was introduced in WCW. He just came out of left field.
Okay,
and
so you want to just try and do the streak in 2016.
That was the most effective way to get him over because it was unexpected. He certainly wasn't popular at first because he was heel at first. And it was right around the Mongo program that he started picking up steam with people, and people recognized that this was kind of a special thing with him because he was running through established wrestlers. And not that Mongo was, the most established, but at that point, I want to say he was a former U.S. champion.
Yep,
so
he was. Remember the Horseman? Yeah.
Yeah, that lent a little bit of credibility to the situation. Not saying that Mongo was,
No, but I mean, I guess the translation to that today would be he'd be running through guys like Fandango and Tyler Breeze and R-Truth and people like that. I mean, I think that they have the people they could kind of set that streak up, but it's a question of, okay, once he gets past the initial jobber crushing stage of the streak, does he just smash, Rusev? Does he just smash The Miz? Once you get to that secondary title level, is he going to continue his reign of just chaos and anarchy and smashing people up, or is that where it ends and he starts to get into more competitive matches? Because that's kind of what they kind of did this with Baron Corbin not that long ago. I mean, when he was in NXT, people are counting for how long the matches are going to be, and then they had him crush everybody until he got to like the upper mid level, and then nope, sorry, that ain't happening anymore.
It was
so
he went down to Neville.
Yep.
And
so would they do the same thing with Goldberg, or are they going to trust Goldberg to continue to? Because I think if you're going to do that, if you're going to do the Goldberg thing, you have to go whole hog with it, and you have to have him run right up to the top of the card. Otherwise, what's the point to it? If we both agree that the thing that was special about Goldberg was his mystique and the streak, hey, that rhymes. I think you have to kind of do the same thing with it, and you can't let it just peter out halfway up the card.
Yeah, you got to go all the way with it, but it's about. And one thing WCW was great at was pacing things over time. I mean, probably the two most memorable things that you could remember from around that time were the NWO. Well, I'm going to count three. The NWO, which took probably way too long in the grand scheme of things. Then there was the Sting storyline.
The Sting Crow one, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where it took, 18 months that they paced themselves, they let it boil, and,
yeah, it went for a while.
Ready to serve.
Mm-hmm.
So it took 18 months for that. And then there was Goldberg, which took quite a while before he a year or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, but the point is they took time with things. They made it seem like, they let it go slowly, built these things up, and then they came to a head. Um, was Goldberg winning the championship on free television, the world championship on free television, a smart idea? No, it could have made a lot of money, but
Yeah.
they went across the roster at that time. He might have gotten a couple of repeat victories during that time over some opponents, but he ran through his opponents. He went through each one of them. He went from Hugh Morris to Jerry Flynn. He went to Mongo. He went to Glacier. He went through,
So,
whoever. He went through a number of names. Diamond Dallas Page.
so if we're having him run through the mid card, what side of the mid card does he run up? Does he run up the U.S. title side, the IC title side, both? I mean, does he get both? But like, how do they? What kind of side, especially with the brand split coming up? But we'll disregard that. That's not in our current discussions. We don't know exactly how that's going down. But what side of that ladder of the mid card does he run up then?
Um, if he's going to be dominant, I don't know. It could be either one. I mean, the IC championship is looked at like the workhorse title,
Yeah, I think
especially these days again. But the U.S. championship is one of those things where
I think the U.S. title would be a better idea. I think
he's held on to before. It's not looked at as quite like the IC championship where it's the workhorse title, but I think either one would work.
I think the U.S. title would be best because I also think it would draw the least backlash because if it's the IC title, then he's running over guys like Cesaro and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and people are going to kind of shit on that. But if he smashes up Rusev, yeah, there are people who aren't going to be that happy about that either. But it's a babyface crushing a heel, and there's other people on that side of that division like Kalisto and whoever that they can have him run up that side and not draw too much heat on him for
an unbeatable babyface going up against a near unbeatable heel. Well, at one point he was unbeatable, but they're working their way back toward that kind of program with them. That's where you want to see this guy, Rusev, get taken down by Goldberg, it's like two unstoppable forces going head to head, and which one's going to win.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting matchup, and maybe that one they can kind of build for a little bit with like Rusev sneak attacking him behind the scenes and things like that. But when they actually get to the in-ring action, I think if we're going to continue the streak, Goldberg should just kind of run right through him and smash him up.
I think, and the other thing that I was going to say with the IC championship is I think it would work for him because if you get the crowd behind him enough, it worked enough like it did today, then like it did back then. I think the crowd would be okay with him running over whoever. But then again, you get people that decry anything these days.
Right.
So it really depends, and it depends how over he is. First things first, and then if he's not as over as say like a Daniel Bryan was or whoever, then once he goes through one of those guys, the crowd's going to frigging go apeshit.
Right. So that's why I think running him on the U.S. title side probably gives him the least amount of heat.
Like I said, I think a slow burn up to these things works better because you have time to establish the guy, and you're going to look forward to him taking these people down, which is what they did back then.
Right.
I think it would work today.
I think, and plus, I think if you have him go up that side, then if he does get a world title, then you can have someone from that IC title side meet him up at the top, and then that match hasn't been done already. You can do kind of like, well, can Kevin Owens outsmart this guy, or can Sami Zayn's pure heart just overcome him? And then you haven't had those two face off yet, so it gives you the opportunity to have a fresh match that people are going to be interested in.
And, it was one of those things as well where he would go through his opponents and take them out, but as he went further, his matches would last a little bit longer. You'd see some offense from his opponents, and they'd make him shake a little bit, but then he would shake it off. They'd turn around, eat a spear, and then get taken down with a jackhammer. But there's times where he's had matches that were a little bit longer, but not crazy long, but just enough to show that this guy might be vulnerable at some point, but somebody's got to crack the code first. So
All right, so
Fine.
who do we think? Do we run him right up to the world title and have him dethrone a guy like Roman Reigns or whoever else might have the belt? Like, does he get that world title, and who do we have him take it from?
It's got to be somebody that seems untouchable. Somebody that's Roman Reigns. I don't know about Reigns. Ambrose, no.
I mean, Rollins seems like a good choice
I mean,
because he's smarmy heel. He's gonna put on a good short match with him.
even Jericho. You know, that's as crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, all right.
Jericho's got that smarmy thing going.
I think Jericho's one of those guys that he beats on the way up, but not for the world title.
Back then, yeah, I think back in the day with
No. I'm saying that if we're doing it present day.
I know what you're saying now. But I think Jericho, with the way that he's working now and the way that the crowd is interacting with him, I don't know. I just think right now Jericho will be one of those guys. Despite his age, he still has the ability. He can still rile up a crowd like crazy. I'm actually surprised they're not trying to squeeze him into that main event picture at least for a little while. A guy like Ambrose, I don't know. They've made him look like he could be taken down by anything at any point. So we have.
I mean, Jericho as a quick transitional champion may not be a bad idea. Like
Yeah.
as a guy specifically to give the belt to Goldberg with. All right, so we're agreeing to let the streak run to the top, but the streak has to end at some point. Who does the streak end to?
Shane McMahon.
That would be the best. Yeah, who do you have beat him?
Wow. Maybe a guy like Roman. I don't know. If Roman hasn't held the championship, yeah, I'd say somebody like him could have, like, a similar situation where maybe Goldberg rises quicker than he does, and then at some point Roman beats him.
I mean we're going. Roman is in his current spot right now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, everybody else beyond Goldberg is where they are right now. So who do you have? Who do you have beat the streak?
Well, not Shane McMahon.
Not Shane McMahon. No.
Not Shane McMahon. Current position. I don't know, man. Like maybe a Kevin Owens.
Okay.
Maybe a Kevin Owens, just because he is
just kind of cheats it, or
that brash, smart-ass, loudmouth heel.
Yeah.
Maybe AJ Styles with help from the club.
See,
that would make more sense than a taser, I guess.
Yeah, for me, and maybe it's just because I'm a huge homer for the guy.
I just think you've had a little more time to digest this while I give the answers. I'm just kind of thinking them off the top.
No, that's fine. No, I mean, this one just kind of came to me, and like I said, maybe it's just because I'm a homer for the guy, and I'm just going that way. Nakamura.
Oh, Nakamura.
Have Nakamura up to the main card, and then have those two meet at the top. Goldberg could hold the title for a little while, and then Nakamura. It's no shenanigans, no bullshit. I think that was the mistake that WCW made initially with ending his streak. It was dumb. It shouldn't be that stuff. It should just be, hey, this guy was better. And you can have Goldberg run with it for a while, but I think Nakamura would be a good candidate because he is another one who is just super charismatic. He can wrestle his ass off, obviously, and whoever you have beat him is somebody that you can transition to carry the ball with the company for some time. And I think that Nakamura could be that guy that would be able to handle that responsibility. So yeah. I think he would be the name that I would do.
That's one thing WCW was poor at. They were great at building things up, but as far as ending
paying them off, terrible.
There was never a payoff. There was never a decisive payoff, and if there was, it was poorly booked. The taser on Goldberg from Scott Hall, which enabled Kevin Nash to powerbomb him and pick up the victory, which was, God, that was so underwhelming. The NWO going on for way too long, and you just
just kind of dribbling apart.
It kind of just it never ended definitively. It just kind of fizzled out, and even then, it came back a couple times, and you can't. It just never ended. And then there was the Sting situation where he comes back at Starrcade, and then they do the whole Bret Hart. They draw attention to the competition and say, look, oh, this is not going to happen again. Hogan pins him with a normal count, and then Bret Hart comes out and says, not going to happen again, and then Sting wins the championship on a ridiculous ending. But as far as WWE doing that, I can't see them. I don't know. They could screw something like that up, but if they don't, they're already doing better with the guy.
That's true. So let's kind of bring this all to a close by asking, how does Goldberg do present day in relation to prior day when his career is all said and done? Is he, does he have the same reputation? Does he have the same kind of fan following? I mean, Goldberg is almost certainly going to go into the Hall of Fame at some point, maybe next year. How does he do in relation to when he initially came onto the scene?
Well, it's a different day. I think he would still.
Would you call it a new day?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think Goldberg would do just fine. Will he do as well as he did back then? I don't know. I think he'd be around the same level, if not, a little bit. He'd probably have a little more longevity, I guess, because he wasn't around real long in the first place. A couple of years, three.
True. Yeah,
3 years.
he wasn't around for very long. Yeah, 3-4 years. I mean, and then his WWE run was about another year-ish on top of that. Yeah,
it was a year. So he went from February to March, I want to say, in 2002, 3, something like that.
Yeah.
To 4, I don't know, but I think he would do probably just as well, if not even a little better, because he's not having to sit home and let a contract get paid out.
I don't know.
The championship. I think he would do fine, and especially since here's the thing that would work in his advantage as well. Crowd get behind him. Kids love a guy like. I mean, look at Reigns. They love a guy like that. They love guys that go to hospitals and visit sick kids and do the Make-A-Wish program thing. Goldberg is one of those guys that never wanted to turn heel. He didn't like the idea of being a heel because kids love him, and he feels like he would break the kids' hearts.
Yeah, also you make a lot more money as a heel, but I guess I'm being pessimistic.
Well, I mean, but then again, he was one of those guys that probably made more money as a face than as a heel.
No, that's what I'm saying. You don't make as much merchandising money as a face.
I get what you're saying.
Than a heel.
I missed that, but he would be popular among the kids, and he wouldn't have to try. I don't know. I can't see them giving him the same kinds of promos that they would give Roman Reigns. I mean, if he's not going to. You don't see a guy like Goldberg saying "suffer and succotash."
Well, you didn't see a guy like Roman Reigns saying it until he said it.
But he said it, and it's just like, why?
I
think he would do fine. It's one of those things where it's tough to say if it'd be the same or better, or worse. I mean, I see it being about the same.
So
maybe being around a little bit longer, maybe that would taint things. But I think for the amount of time that he was in before, I think it worked perfectly as far as that went. People wanted more of him. They got more of him for about a year, and the way he was booked was kind of poor. I mean, they had they had Goldust put a wig on him, and his enemy was a broom closet. So, do you remember that by any chance?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. So, I mean, they treated the guy like crap, and they kind of booked him crappy. So,
well, we have to. I don't know. Like, in order to answer this question, I feel like we have to disregard his actual WWE run.
It's very hard
for me. His success or failure depends not on him. I think we've kind of agreed that it depends on his. It depends on the streak and the booking of it. And will people be as into that angle today as they were back then? It's almost like the person behind it is almost kind of irrelevant. It's just a question of whether or not that angle will work today as well as it did back in the mid-late 90s. I don't think it does. I don't know.
Really?
I mean, the streak thing, like, it's interesting, but I don't know. Number one, I don't think WWE has the balls to see it through. Number one. Number two, I just don't think. What's that?
Tatanka.
I don't know. I just don't think. I don't think it gets over as much. It's gonna be the thing of, well, why is this guy going to the top and guys like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Cesaro aren't? Like, it's just gonna be those same arguments that they say with Roman Reigns. And I think it will get to a certain point and people will reject it. And then once that streak is done, he's kind of done. It's just there's not as much once that gimmick is done, it's kind of the end of him.
That's kind of what happened before.
Right, exactly.
Back on track one, but like I said, WCW, they could do certain things really well, but
But just that guy and his ability and what he does, I just don't know what else you do with him beyond do that. If he's not a dominant ass kicker, I mean, I guess you can move him after you beat the streak. You could kind of move him into a sustained feud with somebody, and then he could still be a dominant guy, but he could find kind of an equal and kind of bang into that person for a while. I don't know. I think maybe. If WWE lets the streak go to the end, I see him getting the belt once, maybe twice, but that's it. Will he get into the Hall of Fame? Maybe.
For a guy like him, I can see something happening like, whoever's in charge would say, you know what? You lost the championship. You're going to the back of the line. You're not getting a rematch. Something would happen where they say you're not getting a rematch. You have to go and work your way up again. And guess what?
And then you just redo the streak?
I don't know. They won't. I can't see them redoing the streak as long as they did previously, but he's going to find a way to get through.
I think that
a couple of months and then gets to WrestleMania and then wins the championship back.
I think Goldberg and the circumstances that surrounded Goldberg were just kind of lightning in a bottle, and I don't think we can replicate that today. I just don't think it works.
But you know what? It's not about replicating. It's about whether it's been done before, and if it hasn't been done, I think it can actually work.
Right, and assuming he was the one to do it, he wouldn't have done it back then, he'd do it now. I don't know. Maybe, but I'm like 50-50 on this at best.
Well, look at Baron Corbin a couple months ago. We just mentioned him, and he was getting over with the crowd when he was actually doing his shortened matches, but once his opponents started getting more offense in, and they went past, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, they started booing, and then they went, well, they're not going to keep this alive, so whatever, we'll sit back and enjoy Corbin. But, you can see that he could be beat, so...
All right. Do you think he'd end up being a Hall of Famer if he started today?
Good look, dominant. Yeah, I could see him. Especially if he had a similar run today that he did back then.
Okay.
As long as he doesn't really get on the bad side of management or anything and do anything crass or stupid, then yeah.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Time Warp. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to check out all of our other shows at our website, changingtheqs.com. That's changingtheqs.com. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at the same handle, at changingtheqs, at changingtheqs. If you want to like us on Facebook, just head on over to there. Search for Changing the Questions on Facebook and like us on that platform. If you want to send us a good old-fashioned email, you can do so, changingthequestions at gmail.com. And again, check out all of our other content. We have recaps of all of the WWE shows all throughout the week. We have different podcasts. We have CTQ Weekly that normally takes place on Monday. On Tuesdays, normally, things are a little shifted because of the Memorial Day holiday, but we do Time Warp usually on Tuesdays. On Mondays, we're going to be doing CTQ Weekly live at around 2 o'clock on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to this on iTunes, be sure to give us a nice 5-star review, say a few nice words about us. And again, thank you so much for listening. Check out all we have to offer. That's going to wrap it up for us. For my partner, Mike Miner.
Peace.
My name is Paul Laporte. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.